Lee Genier with us, the COO of the RP Show. We got a very special guest coming up, and let's bring him in now if you don't mind. Mike Klassen played for three CFL teams. He's an original Calgarian, and the man, he'll humbly probably argue this, but I'll say behind Joey's Fish Shack, joins us today to talk a little CFL football. How you doing, Mike? How's your Friday going?
It's been going great, excited to jump off the call with you guys. So maybe I can dip out early. So, nice warm Friday. So.
Oh, is it beautiful out here? But it is nice to be in the coldest rink on the planet right now. I said to Lee, what's the best question to open up with Mike? And he said, well, here's one. You played for 3 teams, Stamps, Als, and Ottawa. Who is the one you cheer for the most or follow the most? Who do you identify with the most, Mike?
You'd think it would be the home team, Calgary Stampeders, but unfortunately, my time there was short-lived. So I'll have to say Ottawaredblacks on this one, just because that's where I ended up, and I think had the most amount of fun and got to play and contribute in a Grey Cup, which is fun. Unfortunately, we lost, but I'm going to go with Ottawa.
Okay, well, I should go through your resume here for the folks. 6'5", 275. Mike's a Calgary product and played at the U of C. Drafted 2013 by Montreal. Played 2013 to 2016 there with the Als. 2017 with the Stamps. And then, 2018, 2019 with the Redblacks. So before I get into the current state of them, why do all my football buddies say Ottawa is the greatest city to play in? What can you say on national television to answer that question?
You know what? I think it's more the fans than anything. The fans have just really adapted the Redblacks as their team. As you may or may not know, the Senators, they kind of play outside of town. So the Redblacks, it's the best party in town, 9 days of summer. So I think that's why, they get a nice young crowd. They've really rallied around the party scene there with Lansdowne. Again, I don't know if you've been there, but, there's bars and restaurants literally attached to the stadium, and it's a good time.
Well, hey, 20 seasons, voice of the Rough Riders here. I've called many of your games, and we often say top 3 atmospheres in the CFL, Sask, Winnipeg, Ottawa, throw them in the air and see where they come down. They're all, put them in a hat, right? And Lee's sitting here nodding his head. He's got some things to contribute. But now that we've got your background and reintroduced you to the viewers, what is your take then on the current state of the Redblacks? Is they're 1-7 going into tonight's game against Edmonton?
I think it's growing pains, but at least for them, they've been in every single game. I don't think any single game has been a blowout. It's just been, when football games are live, it's do or die, right? It's not like hockey when you play the same team, how many times in a year. Each game, you either win or you lose, and unfortunately, the Ottawa Redblacks have been on the losing side of most of those games, even though they were close. I think they still have to figure out their stride as far as, the big reconfiguration a few years ago when I was still there in 19, when they literally got rid of the whole offense, and that's not conducive to success in any sports league. So they're figuring things out. I went through the same thing in Montreal after Calvillo got hurt in 13. And let's just hope they have a successful last half of the season.
Yeah, right on, Michael. Question is, obviously you parlayed your football career into some bobsledding as well. Tell us about your bobsledding career and how exciting was that, and getting to work with the Jesse Lumsdens of the world, and tell us a little bit about that.
To be honest, there wasn't much of a bobsled career. It was around the same time that I was training for the CFL draft that I kind of went out to a couple ID camps, and I did get invited to spend some time with the national team, and I did train with Jesse Lumsden and Chris Spring and Lascelles Brown and those guys at the beautiful facility they built in Calgary. But other than that, I'll be honest, I've never been down on a bobsled, so it was very short-lived. If you want to call it a career, I wouldn't.
Well, how about that?
I don't agree with it. I don't agree because that's like a guy spending a year on the NFL practice roster. It still goes on his Wikipedia as being in the NFL, even though he never played a game. So that's my take on that, Mike. And by the way, you can look Michael Klassen on Wikipedia for that very thing and look at his CFL career. But it's your business career that I want to ask you about next, and Lee's been filling me in a little bit on it. And when we did talk in Calgary, you guys talked about Joey's, which has undergone a brand change. Joey's Fish Shack now, very exciting things. Everybody knows it. Tell us about your involvement with it, please.
I mean, just grew up in it, right? So my dad is Joe himself. And as loyal Canadians and growing up in Regina and calling games in Ottawa, you're probably familiar with Joey's seafood restaurants, best fish and chips. So my dad got his start at the young age of 21 years old, opened a small shop just on 17th Ave, downtown Calgary. And had his growing pains, but blew up the brand in the 90s and opened 9 stores before he decided to franchise. In 2001, he opened his 100th location. But as many Canadians know, and especially, the young crowd such as myself, Joey's needed some work, and it's kind of been on a bit of a downward spiral the last few years. So we used COVID to rebrand, new menu, new look, smaller spaces. So our franchise partners, have a smaller footprint to pay rent on, utilities, all that good stuff. But another exciting thing we have is a new brand called Streets Restaurants, and we're actually about to open our 19th location. And that's kind of my focus and one thing that I've helped head up over these last 3 years since my retirement.
Well, for one, Joey's only. I know the jingle. Ron Gladys sponsored my show for many years. He owns the Regina Joey's Only Seafood restaurant. So I was just driving by Joey's Fish Shack the other day here in Edmonton. I'm like, that's got to be the same place because the logo looks very similar. But with Streets, I was there in Calgary, had some of the best poutine I've ever had in my life. So how you guys own Streets entirely? That's a heck of a menu you got there.
Yes, we are the franchisor as well. And, with a name like Streets, we didn't really want to corner ourselves into one specific niche, right? So we kind of take that street food approach. I mean, tacos are definitely our specialty. We brag about having the best fish taco in Canada or in the world, really. I mean, come prove me otherwise. So we focus on the tacos. We got the burritos, the bowls. We also do poutines, Canadian classic. And then we still got Joe's famous fish and chips on the menu as well.
Well, so yes, I very familiar with the brand, and the viewers are chiming in clearly. From BW in Edmonton says, love Joey's. From Jeff's the Stamps fan, love me some Joey's Only. Not to be confused with the other Joey's. Let me last ask you this, Michael. What did you learn from your football career that you were able to parlay into your business career? There's had to be some parallels.
Honestly, you could go the teamwork, right? Obviously, growing and building a franchise with right now we're taking care of around 62 locations. There's a lot of coordination, a lot of moving pieces at all times, especially now that we're back in a growing phase when we're opening new restaurants. So just being part of a team, obviously hard work. There's a lot of time that goes into these things. I always compare store openings to training camp, just because, it's about a 2-week grind. You're there 16 hours a day. The only thing you don't leave is a beat up body. So I always compare that grind to the training camp side of things. And I have a lot of fun doing it. We're in these small towns or wherever we may be opening. It is a grind. You're teaching, you're learning, you're on your feet all day. And at the end of the day, you're pretty excited to put your head to the pillow. That combined with I think what's helped me a lot in my career, helping my dad up, is with the contacts I've made through football as well. As a lot of people say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I've had a lot of football buddies that have helped me. I opened one of my own stores as well, the downtown Streets location. And I actually have a couple of my football buddies that have helped fund the thing. They're investors, part owners.
You nailed it. The teamwork, friendship, and hey, it's all fun as hell, as you know. Michael, this has been awesome. Congratulations on your success. Thanks for your support of this show, and enjoy the football this weekend.
Thanks a lot, Rod, and nice meeting you. And you guys have fun up there in Edmonton, the coldest rink and arena, as you said.
We're going to need some Joey's, man, after this. Thanks, Michael. Have a great weekend. Michael Klassen from Joey's Fish Shack and Streets.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.